usa.fm или во время передачи по СМС 347 460 0877.
Добрый день всем, кто сейчас настроен на радио РУСА. В эфире передача Thank God it's Tuesday, потому что сегодня вторник, потому что, слава Богу, с нами сегодня проведет это время величайший раввин нашего времени, раввин Маниса Фридман, который уже с нами, поэтому я сразу же говорю, быстренько обозначаю то, о чем мы будем говорить по-русски сейчас, и перехожу с ним в эту же беседу уже по-английски. Говорим мы сейчас о том, чем же сейчас занимаются евреи. Что это за подсчет Омеров, которыми евреи занимаются и которые надо выполнить за 49 дней? Что это значит и что за этим стоит? Вот это именно об этом мы сейчас поговорим с раввином Манисом Фридман, который уже с нами. Hello, Rabbi Manis Friedman. Thank God it's Tuesday. Thank God it's Tuesday. How was your Passover?
Wonderful, wonderful. Pleasant, relaxed, inspired. It was very nice. How was yours?
Wonderful until the very last day. I was crying a little bit during the meal of Mashiach when Mashiach didn't show up.
It's worth a tear or two.
Well, hopefully. I'm very hopeful that in the next 49 days, something will take place, something wonderful what we're expecting. But I think the most important thing is to understand what is this that the Jewish people are doing for the 49 days, starting with the second night of Passover, and counting Omers. What's an Omer, and what does it really, really mean? And what are we trying to accomplish? So there's a lot of questions that I have, and hopefully we'll be able to understand what these 49 days mean and what are the Jewish people so busy with counting these Omers. What is it all about?
Very good questions. But it's very interesting that there's so little in the Torah and in Jewish tradition. There is so little evidence of a feeling of revenge against the Egyptians, against Egypt. Maybe the 10 plagues was enough. We don't need any more revenge than that. But there wasn't any. It's not part of our makeup. We didn't ask for revenge. We didn't look for revenge. In fact, we're a little sympathetic to the Egyptians. The Torah says that after 3 generations, you should accept converts from the Egyptians, whoever they are. Now, today we don't know who they are, but so what was the focus? As Jews are leaving Egypt, what were they feeling? What were they experiencing? What was going on? So the Torah says, "U'bnei Yisrael yetzim b'yad Roma." The Jews left Egypt with their heads held high. They weren't running away from evil like escaped convicts. They went out proudly, which means not that they felt superior to the Egyptians. They went out proudly means they went out with a purpose. They were on their way to something. So it was more of where they were going than where they were leaving. So of course, we thank God every single day, not only on Pesach, for taking us out of Egypt and so on, but really the emphasis is, you gave us something to replace Egypt. It wasn't just getting away into chaos, into anarchy, into retirement. You gave us someplace to go. Because if you simply free a bunch of slaves with no place to go, it's not a complete blessing. So it's when we left Egypt, we were on our way. That's why we started counting the days. 49 days from the time we left Egypt, and then on the 50th day we received the Torah. So the Jews were already anticipating the receiving of the Torah the day they left Egypt. Maybe even before. They knew where they were going, what they were going to. So what are these 49 days? Well, we have 7 emotions. Each emotion contains the other 6. So, for example, you have kindness. Kindness can exist in a pure form, which we would call kindness in kindness, or it can be judgment in kindness, like tough love. It's kindness, but it's expressed in a form of judgment. You can have compassion within kindness. You can have perseverance in kindness. So each of the emotions is itself an emotion, the pure form, and then as it contains the other 6. So basically you have 7 times 7. 7 emotions, each one made up of 7. Those are the 49 days, or 7 weeks. Each week is a different emotion. And it takes a whole week because each day of the week is a different aspect of that emotion. So basically what it is an emotional preparation for receiving the Torah. But what does that mean, to be emotionally prepared? It doesn't mean if you're not kind, you should develop kindness. If you're not strong, you should develop some strength. If you're not compassionate, you should develop compassion. Now that takes much more than a week. That may take a lifetime and you may never even succeed. No, what we're doing is something very, very different. See, the whole idea of Pesach is to get rid of arrogance. Because bread that rises represents arrogance, puffed up. Matzah that doesn't rise represents humility. Just basic bread, flour, and water. No puffing. No hot air. So on the first night of Pesach, when we eat the matzah, we achieve this level of complete humility. No arrogance. No me. No shtick. Just the reality. The simple, bare truth. At that moment, you are left without any feelings. Because all feelings have a little shtick to them, you know? Like you give somebody a compliment and it's so kind of you. But then you're sitting there waiting for a return compliment, like, hello, I just gave you a compliment. So is it real? Is it true? Is it pure? Is it... Nah, there's always a little something. It's like the brilliant insight into you're not allowed to talk badly about people. Part of that commandment is you're not allowed to compliment a person to someone who is going to criticize him. That is so brilliant. I don't like a certain individual, but I'm not going to talk bad about him because I'm a big tzaddik. I will give him compliments to his enemies, because I know that once I start the conversation, all the negative will come out. So here I am giving compliments, but what I'm really after. So there's always some shtick, right? So on that first night of Pesach, no emotions. Because if you have no agenda, if you have no shtick, you have no feelings. By the second night, we start bringing back the emotions. Slowly. You are capable of kindness, obviously, or you're not a human being. But before Pesach, the kindness had accumulated some toxic negativity, some not so nice things. The me, the arrogance, ruins it. Now that we've had this humility of the first night, now we can try to bring back some kindness, but this time without the arrogance. Pesachdik. Chametz free. So now that you've experienced freedom from the me monster, now try to be kind, but without the monster. Don't let it ruin your kindness. So you practice for a week all aspects of kindness without the arrogance. Next week, you try discipline without arrogance. The third week, compassion without arrogance, and so on. So it's not like you're trying to develop.
Oh, can you please do all 7 weeks? What do we get on the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th?
Okay, the 4th is perseverance. Like almost like a loyalty to kindness. Don't wait for the kindness to bubble up and inspire you. Pursue the kindness out of commitment, out of devotion, out of persevering. So you don't wait for the kindness to inspire you, you pursue kindness. That's the 4th attribute. The 5th attribute is, it's not me being kind to you, it's your right. You deserve the kindness. So really, it's coming from you, not from me. I'm simply treating you the way you deserve to be treated. So it's almost it's coming from you, not from me. So there's a complete humility. I'm not even being kind, I'm just doing the right thing. That's the 5th. The 6th is what's called Yesod, the foundation. It's not about me, and it's not about you. It's just the right thing. You gotta be a mensch. So the kindness is not inspired, holy, angelic. It just is what it is. It's fundamental. Kindness is life itself. Not because I'm great, not because you're great, but because kindness is right. That's really kind of the highest level of kindness. No shtick whatsoever. Then the 7th is, now that you're feeling all this kindness, can you tell someone about it? Can you express it in words? Can you communicate it? Or can you pass it on? You love your spouse very, very much, with no shtick. Have you told him? No. Why? Who are you keeping it for? So those are the 7
Rabbi Friedman, is it correct to understand or to basically that this whole 7 weeks are about how to learn to properly interact people amongst each other, how for us to learn how to be the best that we can be towards each other?
Yes and no. To learn how to be is a lifetime thing. It's not 40 days, not 49 days. But whatever it is you do have, and everybody has kindness, and everybody has some discipline, and everybody has some compassion, the question is, can you clean it up? You're not going to become a more compassionate person. You're not. Not in a week. But the compassion that you have and the compassion that you show, can you take the me monster out of it? Can you make it just what it is without your embellishments? That's doable in one day.
Rabbi Friedman, but how is it doable by just counting the number of the day and calling out the Omer of that day? How does that work in this respect?
It simply means cautiously go back to your own emotions, but don't mess it up with your shtick. Now that you've felt the humility or the simplicity of matzah, you have the ability to now engage in feelings, not have no feelings. You can now engage in your feelings without the shtick, without the embellishments, without the falsehoods. Right? Now the point of it is this: you're getting ready to receive the Torah. Receiving the Torah is a relationship, right? So we are getting ready for relationship. But you would think, at least spiritually, on the first night of Pesach, you have complete humility. Why not leave it that way? Why not come to the receiving of the Torah with no feelings, with no opinion, just complete humility? Yes, God, whatever you want. Of course, that can also be with shtick. Whatever you want, as long as I'm in a good mood. When I'm in a bad mood, no. So, but let's say we could do that honestly. I don't care. I have no opinion, I have no feelings. God's world, His way, and that's it. What do I have to get complicated for? No feelings, no opinions, just whatever He wants. So that's not a relationship. That's not a relationship. So the husband who says to his wife, in answer to every question and to whatever you want, whatever you want. That's not a relationship. To do whatever I want, I don't need you. This young boy, a teenage boy, went to camp. He was a conservative member in the conservative temple. He went to the camp that they have. And for the first time in his life, he experienced Shabbat. Because in camp, they really do Shabbat. Whatever. When he came home, he made himself an appointment with his rabbi. And he sat at the appointment and he said to the rabbi, how do I keep Shomer Shabbat? And the rabbi said, well, it's a special day and you do whatever feels meaningful to you. The boy was not a bad boy, he was not a disrespectful boy, but that answer really shocked him. And he said to the rabbi, "You're telling me to do whatever I think I should do? I do that all the time. What are you getting paid for?" To tell me that I can do whatever I want? Oh, this is a good living. Do whatever you want. That's not a relationship. So this is the surprising thing about the counting of the Omer. We don't want to come to Sinai. We don't want to come to the giving of the Torah with no feelings. As holy as that sounds, that's not a relationship. I have to feel love, I have to feel hate, I have to feel compassion, I have to feel all the feelings. They're all wonderful. If I don't poison them with the me monster. In today's world, this is particularly meaningful and relevant because we are so toxic. We can't stand it anymore. Everything is about me. And that's why I can't survive a microaggression. If it's not exactly the way I want it, if it doesn't sound exactly I fall apart. I have to run to a safe place. This is really toxic. So more than ever before, we need to get rid of this me monster, and we're ready. More than ever before, we're ready. I don't want it. Tell me what's right, tell me what's good, and I will pursue it with my emotions. Because there's nothing wrong with emotion as long as you don't poison it.
So, Rabbi Fridman, is it fair to say that we are made out of emotions? We had this conversation a while back. So it seems like 7 times 7 is what we made up of.
What relationship is made up of? Every emotion is meant for someone other than me. I'm not meant to be kind to myself. I'm not meant to be compassionate to myself. I'm not meant to be devoted to myself. All emotions are bridges that enable us to make contact with someone other than self, which means a relationship. So, intellect doesn't involve another person. I don't think for others. I don't think in order to be connected to others. I think because that's my thing. But emotions, not for me. Emotions are meant to connect me to someone else. So there are 7 threads, there are 7 ropes that I can connect myself to you with. But if I poison it, then it becomes about me again. So, intellect is about me. What do I know? What do I understand? What makes sense to me? Emotions, if you make it about yourself, you're poisoning it. Like the husband who says, I have been good to my wife for 8 years, and I have nothing to show for it. Have nothing to show for it?
What does that mean?
Is that right? In other words, he thinks being kind to somebody is an investment and you get rewarded and you get profit from it. So he really wasn't kind or good to his wife for 8 years. He was manipulating her for 8 years and it didn't work. Because he got nothing back. So coming to receiving the Torah, we don't come with a blank slate. That's not what humility means. People often say humility means complete blank, complete openness, for whatever. No. All the feelings, all of the natural human instincts, but each as they're meant to be. Intellect is for you, emotions are not. So don't poison them.
Rabbi Friedman, but why are the emotional measure is called an Omer, which is really an amount equals amount of certain amount of barley? How is that connected?
Barley is usually used as feed for animals. Unless you're a health nut. Barley is not for human beings. Barley is for animals. Right? So the animal side in us is the emotions. Because when it comes to intellect, we're not the same as animals at all. When it comes to emotions, there are animals that are kind, there are animals that are severe, there are animals that are compassionate. So that's the animal part of us. So bringing the Omer, bringing the animal feed, was to strengthen our animal side or emotional side. But not strengthen it by developing kindness you've never had before. That's a big job. All we're doing is maintaining the humility that we achieved on Pesach. The matzah. Continue the matzah effect. So the matzah effect is love, don't make it greedy. Compassion is compassion, don't look for a reward. Let it be. Let it be what it is. It's a little more doable because it's an elimination. Just don't mess it up. Leave it alone. So when you're kind, just let the kindness be itself. And when you're compassionate, just let it be compassionate. I think we've spoken about this once before. If you're going to do kindness, don't turn it into a mitzvah. Oh, I just did something spiritual. No, you just did something kind. Is that not good enough for you? Let it be. Kind is kind, compassionate is compassionate, loyal is loyal. So this self-awareness, this me monster that infiltrates everything, came from eating of the tree of knowledge. Since then, we've been trying to clean it up. Before Mashiach comes, it will get cleaned up. So what will we have when we clean it up? We will have kindness without shtick. We will have discipline without shtick. We'll have compassion without shtick. Just get that tree of knowledge out. But don't get rid of your emotions.
So, Rabbi Friedman, is it safe to say that we're waiting for Mashiach so everything will be up front and there's not going to be anything anywhere in the back of the mind that needs to be cleaned up, that everything that is going to be exactly as is without any kind of under layers or anything like that? Is that the coming of the Mashiach? Is that what it means?
That's certainly what's going to be once he comes. The question is, how much of it can we practice or get ready for it? So the Rebbe kept saying, live like Mashiach is already here. Well, what does that mean? Get up from the dead? It means, imagine that we hadn't eaten from the tree of knowledge, and that not everything has to be about you. So if you think this song is about you, every song is about you, you haven't cleaned up the tree of knowledge. Don't impose the me monster into everything. Let things be authentic. That's what the Baal Shem Tov loved about the unlearned, the simple. The guy who comes to shul, he doesn't know why, he doesn't know what he's saying in the Siddur, he doesn't read Hebrew very well, but it's what a Jew does, so he does it. There's something very honest about that. Artless, I think is the word. No shtick.
Rabbi Fridman, it's very interesting that during the last day of Passover, during the meal of Mashiach, as we're greeting the Mashiach, and our Rabbi asked everybody around the table to say, how do they imagine a world when Mashiach is already here? And it's very, very difficult. It's very hard for people to get rid of all the physical. They're like, oh, what are we going to do? Are we going to take everything with us when we go? So it's like a big confusion. A lot of people said very nice things, So, the honesty of the world, the truth of each person, and of course, therefore, of the world. But it's still very, very hard to understand what people want, why people want Mashiach, and what are they expecting with the coming of the Mashiach. Can we learn that somewhere? Can you shed a little light on that as well, please?
So we just did. After Mashiach comes, people will be healthier. They will live very long lives, 200, 300 years. Why? Because without the me monster, you're healthier. If you don't get insulted, intimidated, and anxious about every little thing, of course you're going to live longer. Almost every illness has an emotional component. And the emotional component is fear of shame. That's it. It's the biggest killer. We're so dreadfully afraid to be shamed. See, and that's why it says when they ate from the tree of knowledge, what happened immediately?
They realized they were naked. Mm-hmm.
They were ashamed. That's it. And what is Gehenna? What does it mean to suffer when you die? Suffer what? Shame. So shame is really the ultimate toxic poison that infiltrates everything. If I'm having a conversation and you tell me I'm wrong, you're making me sick. My immune system suffers every time I'm embarrassed, every time I'm ashamed, every time I'm humiliated. Takes a chunk out of my health, which means out of my life. So shaming someone in public is like killing him. It's not like, it's killing him, but slowly. So if we stop having this dreadful fear of embarrassment, we would literally live years longer without jogging.
Is it possible to get rid of shame while we're still here, while Mashiach is not here?
Yeah. In fact, it's necessary. We have to do that in preparation for Mashiach.
How do we do that?
At the very least, we have to be sickened by its presence. I think most people today don't want to be selfish. They don't want to be. because it's such a drain to be so self-conscious all the time. And such a relief that people will actually do drugs just to get away from that feeling, at least for a few minutes. Almost everything we do that is unhealthy is an attempt to escape from the me monster. Even going on a ride in an amusement park, the scarier it is, the more you forget about yourself.
Rabbi Fridman, how is shame tied into the me monster?
Me means, are you taking me seriously? Are you laughing at me? Are you talking about me behind my back? What did you just say? What do you mean by that? Please relax. Is this song about me? Those people talking over there on the corner, are they talking about me? It's horrible. So you have a conversation with somebody and you make a statement, the person says, no. That's it. He's your enemy. Why? Offended. You're offended. I mean, that's this whole generation. Like, it's not right or wrong. It's who's offended.
But doesn't shame means when you actually do something wrong and you're embarrassed by that, rather than offended by another person?
See, well, that would be reasonable. I'm offended when I make a stupid mistake and everybody notices. That's reasonable. But the me monster is not reasonable. It's everywhere in everything. It sneaks in to every issue, to every emotion, to every conversation. It's toxic.
Is it only our generation? Did this never exist before?
In earlier times, people were distracted. You had to survive. So you really didn't have time for petty, egotistical experiences. Who has time for this? But today we have time, which is good. But the me monster rushes in to fill that time. And that's why we're sick of it. A very common. You hear in the news, a house was bombed, 12 people died. You say, where? Oh, not my neighborhood. Oh, okay. As long as it doesn't involve me.
Rabbi Fridman, yeah, very serious topic we're on, and it's not as easy to understand as one would imagine, because realistically, it's been our reality for the longest time that this world is about me, and we have to protect the me, the I, the everything that surrounds all of that, and of course it's a lot to work on. But I think we have been working on it. I think this last couple of years, we've been forced to get a little bit more outside of ourselves, and I'm grateful for that.
Yes, and in some way, the pandemic, you would expect that if people are locked up in their own homes and not being social, that they would become more and more focused on themselves. The exact opposite happened. Forced to be alone has made us think of others more. But you got a little surprising. Yeah, pleasant surprise. We've become more thoughtful and more empathetic to others when we thought we would just become more and more swallowed up by our own thoughts and our own needs and our. So yes, we are getting a lot better, but primarily the desire to escape it. That needs to be understood. People who do crazy things, dangerous things, self-destructive things, painful things, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get away from their me monster, because it's embarrassing, it's depressing, it's just wrong, and we feel like we're drowning in it. So give me a break, let me out at least for an hour to not think about myself. It feels so authentic.
Rabbi Fridman, amazing. Another amazing. Thank God it's Tuesday. Very deep, very insightful. I hope people are catching on to what we're saying and applying it to themselves, because realistically, this is where the answers are. And I thank you so much for allocating this time for us and for doing everything that you do every single day. I know people can search your Omer lectures, which are now on your YouTube channel. And I just want to thank you for everything that you do for humanity these days, and especially for us, of course, every Tuesday. Thank you so much. I wish you a very, very good week. And I look so much forward to a lot more wisdom and insight next. Thank God it's Tuesday.
Thank you for the opportunity. This is the week of discipline. To discipline ourselves or others without ulterior motives.
Awesome. Actually, my favorite week for some reason. I'll figure out one day why. Thank you so much, Rabbi Fridman.
Be well.
Thank you. И всем, кто сейчас с нами, хочу поблагодарить вас за это время, проведенное с нами, и сказать, пожалуйста, не останавливайтесь на достигнутом. У Рэбби Фридмана есть замечательная книга «Creating a Life That Matters». Там очень много мудрости. Найдите его на YouTube-канале itsgoodtoknow.org. И хорошей всем доброй, счастливой недели. Прощаюсь со всеми ненадолго. Всего доброго.
Ваши голоса звучат ясно и бескомпромиссно. Наша гражданская позиция проста и понятна.